and welcome to Israeli Salad. Thank you for joining us. Let's get started. In the past few years, many bands have popped up playing original Jewish music. One of these bands is Hashmashot. I met 3 members of the group in a small apartment in southern Tel Aviv. The first word that comes to mind after meeting the Hashmashot band is mixture. There is a mixture of religious and non-religious people. In fact, 2 of the guys are brothers, one observant and the other not. There are guys and a girl, and a clear mixture of styles: Jewish, Irish, reggae, rock, and much more.
The combination of people in Hashmashot is in itself an important statement of our group, more important than the music and the text. The fact that we got together proves that it's possible. This is the spirit of Hashmashot, bringing hearts closer and uniting them despite the differences.
I don't know, for us it's natural, all that mixture. For the environment, it's a big thing. For us, it's just, the way of living.
The mixture can be felt as well in the lyrics of the songs. Yoni and his friends sing about many topics, ranging from love and friendship to religion, faith, and spirituality. Even the name of the group points to the mixture. Hashmashot means twilight, the time in the day when night and day meld in a mixture of darkness and light.
In my life and in our reality of life, you can see the mixtures that you're talking about.
Many of Hashmashot's songs were written by Yoni when he was learning in yeshiva.
I believe that you have to fill yourself, your spiritual world, if you want to say something that is meaningful.
I try to play my music from my heart as pure and simple as I can. A simple technique is just the tool to express the message freely.
It's very important to the members of this group to reach all types of audience in Israel.
Usually, bands that have a religious flavor are categorized as religious bands. We want to be in the mainstream, an Israeli rock group. This is our immediate ambition. Reaching audiences abroad sounds very far-fetched at this time, but if it'll happen, we'll be happy. My friends who are not religious are really fond of what we're doing.
If you can see that a band like ours is popular both on the religious side and the secular side, so it's something that I think it would be a miracle.
From the one-room apartment in Florentine, Tel Aviv, where the Hashmashot band are practicing, that'll be all for now, but we'll be back at the end of the program with some music of Hashmashot. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. You're far away from Israel, but did you know you could enter an Israeli mall? Israel NN Mall is the source for wonderful Israeli and Jewish gifts on the web. So check out our site at israelnnmall.com. Music, like Hashmashot's music, is one of the ways you can fulfill the mitzvah, the precept of making a bride and groom happy. But sometimes, simply helping the bride and groom with their preparations for the wedding can be a great mitzvah. Organizing a wedding is a very expensive project: the hall, the photographer, the band, and more. The Mesamchim Association helps young couples with their preparations. The organization has contacted a variety of businesses and made deals with them, making things easier and mainly cheaper for the newlyweds. Mesamchim is in touch with halls, bands, photographers, wedding gown dealers, and almost any other service that a young couple needs in order to prepare for their wedding ceremony. I went to visit the Mesamchim offices in Jerusalem and met the organizers and the people who are receiving help from this organization. Mesamchim, by the way, means to make people happy.
Well, I feel it's very helpful. This is the first wedding we're making, and we didn't know anything about halls besides being guests.
The religious community often has large weddings with 500 to 600 people invited. This is a very large expense. Our goal is that people should pay a reasonable price for their wedding. We're here to help young couples by lowering the price of photography.
They supplied a lot of information, and it's very helpful, and they're very nice.
I got from them the hall that I got married in, and I rented cars from them.
Okay, I went to see some wedding dresses, and I got a cheaper price.
We rent a hall, order catering, and lower prices, sometimes even 30 to 40%.
When you see that you can cut your expenses in half, this is something that makes you very happy.
The quality of service does not go down, but rather improves.
It's a big mitzvah to help young couples to arrange the wedding.
Our goal in the future is to assist couples who can't afford a wedding at all by providing them with all the funds necessary.
Israel is full of museums that relate to many topics. I decided to visit a site that is not even officially called a museum, the Beit Hatanach Museum in Tel Aviv. Beit Hatanach, the Bible Museum, is housed in what was the home of Mayor Dizengoff, the first mayor of Tel Aviv. The Dizengoff home was one of the first 4 houses of Tel Aviv, which were built in 1910. After his wife passed away, Dizengoff turned his home into a museum, and around the time of his death, he decided to bequeath his home to the residents of Tel Aviv, as he had no children to inherit his estate.
He said that all the residents of Tel Aviv are his children and his continuation.
After his death, the museum was transferred and the house was left abandoned. Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, was part of the Society of Tanakh Study. Ben-Gurion saw great importance in the connection between Israel and the Tanakh.
He always said that the people of Israel have to remember that the nation did not start from David Ben-Gurion, but rather from the time of David ben Yishai, King David.
Ben-Gurion and his friends established Beit Hatanach in the abandoned Dizengoff home.
To preserve, reconstruct, commemorate, and spread the knowledge and history from our forefather Avraham up until this day.
There are a large variety of exhibits in the museum. Exhibits which contain products and items that appear in the stories of the Tanakh, like the Egyptian vegetables that the Jewish people probably talked about when complaining to Moses in the desert, and a block of salt, reminiscent of the pillar of salt from the story of Lot. Many works of art influenced by the Tanakh are displayed. These pieces were created by both Jewish and non-Jewish artists. The museum also presents reconstructed items and instruments.
This is the tent of Avraham, our forefather. Here we bring actors who present the stories of the patriarchs.
The Tanakh, which is the all-time bestseller, can be seen in many different translations and styles in the display of the Tanakh books from throughout the globe. One of the exhibits displays an enhancement of the original copy of the Aleppo Codex, the Keter Aram Tzova Tanakh, the most ancient manuscript of the complete Tanakh. The museum is operated entirely by volunteers. The Beit Hatanach Association has been standing strong against the municipal authorities that say that the Tanakh era has passed and that there is no need for such a museum in the heart of Tel Aviv. The association also has to deal with the government authorities that determine whether a site can be officially called a museum. Beit Hatanach has many displays which are not original. The exhibits are not displayed according to the high official standards, and the exhibits are so diverse and the themes are so varied that Beit Hatanach cannot be categorized in any which way. Because of this, Beit Hatanach is not an official museum. However, it is precisely this diversity that makes this exhibit unique and fascinating.
The Tanakh is the inheritance of the entire Jewish nation. Everyone, no matter where he comes from, can come and find something here that he can feel connected to.
I strongly recommend visiting this museum. Okay, before we go back to Ben Hashmashot for one of their songs, here's our weekly insight. Shalom Rabbi Samson in Jerusalem. Today I'd like to ask for some insight into the Brit Milah, the circumcision ceremony that every Jewish male goes through at the age of 8 days.
Shalom Yoni, and shalom to all of our listeners and watchers around the world. Yoni, when you ask about the circumcision ceremony, it seems something which is really so invasive and maybe even unfair to the newborn child. We don't even ask him. And I think that's the idea of a covenant. A covenant is something which is totally invasive, totally overwhelming. It's something that does not depend on any will at all. It is by definition. And it's to signify the fact that a Jew is a Jew, whether he likes it or not, whether he knows it or not, and no matter what he does, he is part of the covenant. And this is the covenant that has been declared by God to Abraham, the first Jew. And since the time of Abraham until today, the circumcision ceremony has been kept. Maybe I'll mention a story about my cousin. During the Holocaust, even though she wasn't really very religious, and it was punishable by death, she took her son out of the hiding place on the 8th day, and she ran to where the mohel was, the person to perform the circumcision ceremony, because she couldn't think of her son not being circumcised on the 8th day, even though it was something that was punishable by death.
Are there some cases where this ceremony does not take place at the age of 8 days?
All of the new immigrants who are coming from the Soviet Union and the countries nearby, they come to Israel, they weren't circumcised before they come, and they go through circumcision ceremonies here in Israel at the age of 10, at the age of 20, 30, 40, 50, even elderly men, the age of 60 and 70, go through the circumcision ceremony, something which is not a simple ceremony for someone at that age, but it's very important to all of these new immigrants as they come to Israel to be part of not only the revived Israel, but part of the revived covenant of the Jewish people as well.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Samson. And in a moment, we'll hear some more from Ben Hashmashot. I just wanted to remind everyone that our email is waiting for your ideas, comments, questions, and more.
The Weekly Insight is brought to you in cooperation with Machon Meir, the largest Zionist institute in Israel, bringing people closer to Judaism.
You are watching Israel National News TV.
Okay, as I promised in the beginning, now we are at the end of the program and it's time for some music from Ben Hashmashot.
רציתי לומר לך, חומות של בטון מפרידות בינינו ברגע של בדידות. רציתי לומר לך, תהום של עיכוב רובצת בינינו, ולמילה מדוברת יש תכונה גואלת, הלב נססר והווידוי הוא מרגוע, ונפש נפש מתגסר. אני לא שומע מה אתם אומרים, לא, אני לא מבין על מה אתם מדברים.